Tim, we have a question from a church planter who's asking this. How do you build generous justice into the DNA of a church plant? I'm so busy doing other things, trying to reorient people around the gospel. I just don't have time to organize some kind of program or outreach to the poor. Plus, you say in your book, it's expensive, and my church plant doesn't have a lot of money either. How do you counsel this guy?
Well, I think justice and, let's say, cultural engagement, like, for example, engaging the arts, which everybody wants to do. What is a poor church planter supposed to do? Is he supposed to open an art gallery? Is he supposed to begin rehabilitating houses and still evangelize? It just sounds terrible. What I try to say in the book is the primary job of a pastor of a church is to preach the word. The number one thing people need to hear when they come into my church is believe in Jesus. Now, once they believe in Jesus, I disciple them. And when I disciple them, I'm trying to disciple them for living the Christian life in every area of life. So I'll be discipling them to do justice, and I'll be discipling them to integrate their faith with their work. But that doesn't necessarily mean the first thing I do as a pastor is start an art gallery, or the first thing I do as a pastor is necessarily starting a church-run ministry to the poor. I think by far the best way to get started when you're church planting is you're supposed to do evangelism and discipling. That builds up your church. Otherwise, you won't have any people to deploy in doing justice. What would be really important is you disciple people to do justice. You show them places in the city they can be involved as individuals. Maybe the church can hook up with some ministry that's already in existence and give volunteers and promote it. That's how I did it in the beginning. I didn't try to start ministries. It's very, very complicated and also expensive. Eventually, I really suggest that a church, that members of the church in a city especially, start a 501c3 that comes alongside of the church, and it helps either start or work with those kinds of ministries. I actually feel like elders who are doing everything they can to run the church well need skill sets to run these ministries to the poor that very often the elders don't have. So I try to say in the book, it's best to start your own nonprofits right alongside of the church. But that shouldn't be the very first thing you do. Unless you live in an area of great, great, great need, if you're in an inner city urban area, then start your nonprofit at the same time you're starting your church. Even then, though, your church now doesn't have to be doing all the ministries itself. So it's in the footnotes of the book. Take a look at that, especially under chapter 6, I think.